Fellow Americans living abroad, I need you to join me right now in saving our country. Our country is in very serious trouble. You have to make sure that you are registered and you are going to vote, because I'm going to take very good care of you. I'm going to take care of our nation. We're in a failing nation, and we're going to bring it back, and we're going to bring it back strong. Once and for all, I'm going to end double taxation on our overseas citizens. You've been wanting this for years, and nobody has listened to you, and you deserve it, and I'm going to do it. It's the right thing to do, and no American leader has ever been willing to stand up and commit to you the way that I have on many things, but this is a very important element for your safety, security, and frankly for your wallet. But I'm not like everyone else. I get things done. When I say it, I get things done. So I'm going to get this done for you. It's a big one, ending double taxation. And you are going to be very happy when I'm back in office and get it done for you. So I need you to get out and vote. Cast your vote today. Remember, we're in a failing nation. It's a nation in decline. I'm going to turn it around. Don't wait to vote. Make sure you're registered and cast your vote as soon as you can. God bless you, and God bless our beautiful country. Thank you very much.
Succession of President Trump to the White House to be the 47th President of the United States.
Well, there's nothing from President Putin himself yet. We expect we might get some words from him tomorrow. That's why we're here in Krasnaya Polyana. He's holding a forum here with business leaders and other high-profile figures within Russia. So expect some comments from him tomorrow. We have had some official words and reaction to the result from the Kremlin, though, today, and it has been quite a guarded reaction thus far. We heard from the official spokesman, Dmitry Peskov, who said that Vladimir Putin has no plans to congratulate Donald Trump on his victory, in stark contrast to President Zelensky, as you heard there. Mr. Peskov said, he reminded journalists that Russia sees the US as a hostile nation, and he said that relations between the two countries are at a historic low in the eyes of Moscow. And on this issue, this vow by Donald Trump to bring the war in Ukraine to a swift close, well, Mr. Peskov poured cold water on that. He said it can't be done overnight. Longer term, he said, we will see. So on the surface, at least, Russia is not holding its breath that anything is going to happen anytime soon. And they're certainly not jumping in the streets here with joy at the result. Having said that, though, given President-elect Trump's statements on the campaign trail related to Ukraine, I think this was definitely the Kremlin's preferred outcome, because time and again he intimated that US military aid to Ukraine could be either reduced or curtailed, and if that happens, that would severely impact and hinder Ukraine's ability to sustain the fight on the battlefield. It could then force them to the negotiating table in a position of weakness, and that in turn could, of course, see them cede territory in any peace deal, territory that Russia holds. That is an outcome that Ukraine and its Western allies are desperate to avoid, because they see it as almost rewarding Vladimir Putin, as condoning his full-scale invasion of a sovereign nation. But as I say, Russia doesn't outwardly appear to be holding its breath that is going to happen anytime soon. However, I think it is safe to say that they are much happier today at the outcome than they would be if we were talking about President-elect Harris.
Ivor, thank you. Well, on that subject, staying with the subject of Ukraine, earlier this afternoon, I spoke to the Ukrainian MP and Golos party leader, Kira Rudik, about what another Trump presidency might mean for the war in Ukraine. I began by asking her if she welcomed the results of the US election.
Of course, we are welcoming the results of the democratic elections. And of course, we are really happy that these results are unopposed, accepted, and show the world that the democracy is working. And this is one of the reminders that we want to give the world, that Ukraine is also a democratic country, and we are fighting also to have and to continue having a democratic state where elections are possible, and we're sharing the same values. So it is very good that democracy is working, but it's very concerning on how it will work for Ukraine. Because what we are expecting from the leader of the democratic world is to support the country that is fighting for the exact same things, for the exact same values. Of course, Ukrainians public right now is very much concerned because during the campaign, Donald Trump and his team were giving pretty complicated statements that are concerning, promising simple solutions to the complicated problems, like ending the war in 24 hours. So we really hope that the campaigning is one thing and the president of the leader of the democratic world will take what is happening in Ukraine very seriously. And I can only support President Zelensky's statement, which implies that we are inviting Donald Trump here to Ukraine to witness what is happening before making any drastic decisions. And we want to remind the world with the facts that there was not a single point, not a single fact of being able to have a successful negotiation with Russia, where Russia would keep their part of the deal. We were trying to do that since 2014, and it only allowed Russia to feel the impunity, to strengthen up, build more resources and weapons, and start the full-scale invasion in 2022. So, of course, it is not a solution that we are looking towards.
Donald Trump has already said in a speech from his headquarters he's promised that there will be no wars during his tenure. Do you take that as a positive message, or do you see flaws in that statement?
Well, there are flaws because although we will be applauding to helping us win the war and getting Ukraine everything that we need to end the war on our terms, on the actually international laws. However, again, the simple solutions just with stopping the war and have it remaining unresolved is creating a very dangerous precedent for the rest of the authoritarian regimes, showing that they can launch the full-scale invasion, commit all kinds of the war crimes from the war crimes list and get away with it. So, and it will create only more wars. It would not stop the wars all in all, and we know that. It cannot be an impunity to the authoritarian regime, to the dictatorships, allowing them to do whatever they want.
Do you think Donald Trump will lean towards negotiations?
He may, but we are here to, first of all, give him and his team all the information that they may require from our side and from the reality of the battlefield. And again, the questions on what would happen if Russia...
OK, let's take you to a news conference from Mitch McConnell, the Republican Senate leader.
What he's accomplished has not been done, as all of you know, since Grover Cleveland, which was a while back. I also want to commend the Trump campaign for running a sharper operation this time, and I think Chris LaCivita and Susie Wiles deserve a lot of credit. They ran a spectacular race. With regard to the Senate, you guys know how long I've been around. I had really hoped I'd be able to hand over to my successor the majority. I've been the majority leader, I've been the minority leader. The majority's a lot better. And I think, based on the fact that we haven't got all the results in, we certainly already know we're going to be in the majority. We're hopeful that that might actually grow some. And I want to give particular credit to Steve Daines. I had that job at the NRSC a few years back. I've never seen a better performance. He focused on getting quality candidates, making sure they actually got the nomination. And as I said, to some criticism, the candidate quality is absolutely essential. I also am proud of the job the Senate Leadership Fund and its related groups did. Overall, they were able to raise $425 million, and they made decisions to invest in, I think, all the right places. I'll just run it down for you. They spent $29 million in Maryland, $42 million in Michigan, $60 million in Montana, $3.3 million in Nebraska, $12.8 million in Nevada, $133 million in Ohio, $82.7 million in Pennsylvania, $30 million in Wisconsin, and $3 million in West Virginia. So clearly what they were doing over there is focusing on the places where we had the best chance to win, and I think the results pretty much prove they made a lot of wise decisions. So with that, I'll be happy to see what you want to talk about.
Morning, Mr. Senate Republicans will have 54, 55, maybe even 56 seats before this itself. You have been an advocate of maintaining the filibuster, the former president, now the president-elect.
You know, I'm glad you raised that.
And what will you do outside of the leadership now to continue to advocate on that if there are forces here who try to get this?
I'm really glad you raised that. I should have covered that before. I think one of the most gratifying results of the Senate becoming Republican, the filibuster will stand. There won't be any new states admitted that give a partisan advantage to the other side. And we'll quit beating up the Supreme Court every time we don't like a decision they make. So I think this shifting to a Republican Senate majority helps control the guardrails to keep people who want to change the rules in order to achieve something they think is worthwhile is not successful. And so I think the filibuster is very secure. Yep.
Leader McConnell, practically speaking, what does having a 52 or 53 seat majority mean for getting Trump's agenda through the Senate compared to a 50 or 51 seat? And does this mean maybe you expand the agenda beyond the Trump tax cuts to explore other things, and what might those things be?
Well, we hear optimistic reports of what may have happened in the House, and obviously, if you were going to legitimately work around the filibuster, it would be through reconciliation. And so I think we'd be obviously more successful if we flip the House. And Speaker, I think, put out a statement saying he's optimistic. I hope that's the case.
In March, you blamed former President Trump, President-elect Trump, and his inner circle on the delay to Ukraine aid. Are you confident that he's the best person to deter our adversaries?
Yeah, look, I'm here this morning to talk about the election, and I think I'm going to largely confine it to that. Yeah.
Can you talk a little bit about what you expect your role to be next year when you're not in leadership? I know you've talked about foreign policy. You've got J.D. Vance as the vice president. He's obviously got diverging views from you on foreign policy. Well, what is your goal going to be over the next 2 years?
Okay. I'm not going to speculate about what anybody else may be doing. I thought your question was what I was going to be doing. Yeah. I'm going to concentrate on defense and foreign policy. I think this is the most dangerous time since right before World War II. Our adversaries, the North Koreans, Chinese, Russians, Iran, and Iran's proxies are all talking to each other. They have one thing in common: they hate us, and they want to diminish our role in the world. it may seem old-fashioned to some, but I'm still a Reagan Republican who thinks that America's role in the world is absolutely indispensable. Even if you're concerned about cost, it'd be interesting to know that at the height of World War II, 37% of our gross domestic product was being spent on the war. 37%. And we lost over 400,000 Americans. The Reagan buildup, without a shot being fired, was about 6% of GDP. We're currently spending 2.7. We need to ramp up defense spending in order to prevent a direct conflict with our adversaries. It's a lot cheaper to prevent war than it is to have one. And so that's the focus I'm going to have for the next couple of years.
Senator Leader McConnell, do you plan to chair the appropriations subcommittee?
I haven't made a decision. I'm hoping, as former leader, you guys will care what I think anyway, and I don't think it'll have anything to do with committee assignments. Yeah.
Are you anticipating any moves from the Democrats in the lame duck weeks coming up here?
Well, we are going to have to figure out how to finish up the year, and that always involves a conversation between Senator Schumer and myself as to how we wrap it up, but those conversations haven't started yet. Yeah.
Just a week before this election, your biography was released. And it included a lot of sharp criticisms of President Trump. Do you stand by those criticisms?
Yeah, I'm not here to do a book review this morning. Yeah.
Next week, your colleagues will choose the next majority leader. What should they take away from last night when they vote for the next leader?
What can I take from last night?
What should your colleagues take from last night when they choose the next leader?
Candidate quality is essential. Absolutely essential. And I think we had the best candidates everywhere yesterday.
You've been the majority leader in this situation with narrow majorities in the House and Senate. How challenging do you think it's going to be to keep the Republican Party together if you end up with full control?
Well, you're a bit of a student of history, Burgess. Since senators became popularly elected in 1914, my party's never had more than 55. Democrats had massive majorities during the 30s, during LBJ, during Barack Obama. So obviously, the higher we get, the better. But this is not 60 votes, which is what they had at the beginning of President Obama. So I think we did pretty well with narrow majorities during the previous administration. 3 new Supreme Court justices, 54 new circuit judges, comprehensive 30-year overdue tax reform. Yeah, I mean, it's harder, but I think we were successful before with a narrow majority, and I think we will be again.
Senator, looking at the results from last night, what do you take away from the move of the country, where it is now, where it is headed, and how it lands according to your expectations?
Well, if you're looking for a simple answer, I think it was a referendum on the current administration, in part. People were just not happy with this administration, and the Democratic nominee obviously was a part of it.
In your role as former leader, moving forward, what do you think your level of engagement is going to be directly with the new Trump administration? Again, given your criticisms of the former president.
I'm going to do everything I can to help the new administration be successful.
Would you be
in support of Elon Musk and RFK Jr. having positions in the cabinet for the presidency?
I'm sorry, say that again.
Would you be in support of RFK Jr. and Elon Musk having positions in the presidential cabinet, considering that Elon Musk has been reported to be in contact with Vladimir Putin and RFK Jr. has been accused of sexual assault?
One of the things about advancing age, if you all live as long as I do, you're going to have hearing aids on and have a hard time hearing a question like that. Why don't you come up here?
Florence Banks noticed. Would you be in support of Elon Musk and RFK Jr. having cabinet positions, considering that Elon Musk has been reported to be in contact?
Yeah, I'm not going to get into that subject. Anything else related to what happened yesterday? Yeah.
I'm wondering, President Trump and Senate Republicans sometimes butted heads in the first administration. Do you think the relationship will be smoother this time? What advice would you have to President Trump to dealing with the new majority in Congress in general?
You know, I had a lot of dealings with him during the previous administration. I think we did a lot for the American people. Yeah.
Do you expect any clashes with President Trump over nominees in case he goes more towards the economic populist route?
I think it's way too early to tell who the nominees are going to be, and I think the Senate will treat them fairly. Carl?
A lame duck question. Democrats have a lot of judges in the channel here that they could try and push through in these last few weeks. What do you think Republicans should do if that would happen?
One advantage of being the majority leader is you get to decide what to bring up, and I think if that's what the majority leader wants to do, that's what we'll do, and each one will be voted on.
Now that Republicans have control of the Senate and the presidency, how do you expect some lame duck priorities like appropriations to be handled? Is that going to be punted into the new year?
How do I expect what?
Appropriations and other big lame duck priorities to be handled.
Well, I mean, I think getting our work done, which no matter who's been in the majority, we've not been able to do that very well for quite a while. Deciding how to spend the discretionary money that we have, which is not a very big part of what we spend every year anymore, is really important. And I would hope we would put a greater priority than the current Senate has on doing the basic work of government, which is deciding how much to spend, and getting it done as close to regular order as possible.
Thank you, sir. I was hoping you could compare the 2017 Tax Cuts and Jobs Act extension that Republicans are pursuing now to the Bush tax cut extension that we saw. Are these comparable periods in policy now, and what is the Republican position mean for that?
Well, I can speak for most Senate Republicans. We thought it was a huge success. It produced more revenue than less, and I'm sure virtually all of us would like to see most of that extended. Okay, I think we're through. Good luck to you all. I enjoyed talking to you, and it was a hell of a good day. Thanks a lot.
Have you spoken to the president?